Hi, everybody. I'm Amy Sweezy at SCTE Tech Expo 2024, and my next guest is Koji Okamoto with VIAVI Solutions. Thank you so much for being here.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So first of all, let's just talk about some of the general trends in HFC.
Yes. So just like last year and continue to go, I think for the next few years will be the expansion of the deep fiber to increase the bandwidth for downstream and upstream. And more the trend is, let's say, get closer to symmetrical services. So HFC traditionally has been much more downstream oriented and higher speed, but now trying to expand on upstream because a lot of our applications, including people who are going to use the mobile app and so on, so are uploading more content. So you need more upstream and more work from home. You read all the video conference calls and so on. So the capacity of the upstream is really more important. So that started to happen, and this is the reason why you see like a 204 megahertz people call high split network with a distributed architecture, and that ecosystem is really start to take off. And we have been working very hard with these different vendors and some of the top MSOs, especially in the US, to make that DAA transition possible because it's a very vendor-rich. Let's say there are a lot of new players, so you have to worry about the compatibility and scalability of that solutions. And our solution helped to make sure there's operational impact is minimized in this new architecture. Another piece I think is the new PON. So we start to see that more in the fiber to the home.
Okay, so what are some of the trends that you're seeing with PON?
Yeah, so in the fiber to the home, this is especially true in even the tier ones. We start seeing the rollout in the rural areas and more cost-effective way to deploy it. And we start to see new PON architecture. Traditionally, it was an equal split. So you have a fiber and you could have a 4-way or 8-way splitter, so equal power. Now we call it distributed or sometimes tap architecture. It's actually very close to the traditional cable directional coupler with tap architecture. So people call it tap architecture, distributed architecture. It's a little bit unique in that regards. And the impact to this is that you need to have a new solution to really test that kind of new architecture. So we have experience actually, this started out in Latin America market for a while. So now that's moving more into the US. So we've seen that some of the top MSOs start deploying this architecture for flexibility. And then the benefit of this architecture is to get you further in distance, so that the rural, especially when the homes are more distributed further apart, this is a good architecture to do so.
And I heard you mention cost.
Yeah.
I have to believe keeping the cost down for the homeowner is a very important point.
Yeah, and this is what comes down to a little bit of the, I think, automation a bit too, because customer really counts the, let's say, homes passed, dollar per homes passed. So it's really important to be cost effectively work on the deployment and the build outs. And the only way to make this happen is really the automation. So you don't have to keep repeating the same kind of jobs, or when you build first and then it doesn't work, you got to send somebody else, and those are just going to mount cost wise. So it's really critical during especially the construction phase to do that.
Okay, I was going to ask you about the importance of and the role that test automation plays in that construction phase.
Yes. Yeah. So other piece I think is that every now market need fiber. So you look at the wireless, it's basically deep fiber with a little radio on top. Cable, you got the deep fiber, it could be DAA or remote OLT. Now you're talking about data centers, people need a bunch of fibers and so on. So every industry needs fiber. So all the contract ecosystem is collapsing. Everybody wants and need these kind of contract ecosystem, and there's just limited amount of resources. The only way to make this happen is really the automation.
Okay, all right. Once the fiber network has been built out, is there another role for the automation with all these centralized systems?
Yeah, so once it's built, you still have to activate the customer, right? So in that time, it's even more unknown. Sometimes you go to the home, you got to drill a hole and put the fiber in, and sometimes you could have a band, sometimes you could have a, as it sounds like very simple, the dirty connector causes one of the biggest issues in the fiber to the home. So you got to inspect before you connect. So that has been the big issues that you have to really create a repeatable process to even help the home technician. Other piece that we start seeing in the MSO space is that we call access part of the network before it goes to the home is DWDM. And this is more common in the MSO space here, especially in North America. So what that means is you got a multiple wavelength on the same fiber. So if that fiber is cut, you're gonna have a lot of customers affected. Could be business services, one of the wavelengths could go to business services, it could go to wireless, it could go to the real PON. So people start looking at the monitoring this access fiber, common fiber, so that if there's something happens, the mean time to repair is very, very short. Versus when it's cut today, somebody has to physically go to the hub side or head ends and then bring the OTDR and shoot it, and then make phone calls. It takes too long because all the customers are down the downstream.
How important is it for VIAVI Solutions to be here at Tech Expo?
Oh, we've been here for decades, we're looking forward to see all the customers show the latest solutions. It's critical for us to, be here and just change over time. It's instead of just pure, let's say, cable, traditional cable, it's really cable and a fiber show to me. So it's more of the whole telecommunications show than just pure cable.
All right, Koji Okamoto, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure to
Appreciate
meet
it.
you.
Nice to meet you.